you just tear your ACL, we're going to go over the top 5 things you need to be doing before you have ACL surgery in your prehab phase. My name is Dr. Marco Lopez, Doctor of Physical Therapy and Certified Strength and Conditioning Specialist and co-founder of the Basketball Doctors. So let's just jump into it. So you tore your ACL. The most important thing you got to be doing is prehab. And we're going to go over the top 5 things that you're going to be doing during your prehab stage. If you want to learn more about ACL tears and the different graft choices, check out the description below. There's great videos that we made in the past, but for today, we're going to be focusing on what are those 5 goals that we need to be working on during that prehab stage. Number 1 goal before surgery is calming the knee. We need to make sure the knee is calmed down. And the reason I mean calm down is I want that swelling to calm down. I want it to go back to homeostasis, back to its normal state. Because if the knee's already swollen, it's already irritated, and you go through the surgical procedure, it's only going to irritate it even more. So that's going to cause even more swelling after surgery. So we want to make sure the knee's back to that normal state, as much normal as we can. There's always sometimes going to be a little residual swelling. That's better than the knee ballooned up. And the way you're going to calm this knee down is 1, getting some compression. Getting that compression to help decrease that swelling. 2, a lot of people talk bad about this, but icing. I like ice because it's going to decrease the pain. It's going to allow us to do some movements. So some simple range of motion, moving your leg is going to get the blood flow going and decrease that swelling. And then the other thing is make sure you're not overdoing it. Use your crutches early on to decrease the weight on your leg, because a lot of times people will go for a long walk, and that long walk is going to swell up your knee. So just be mindful in the activities and not overloading your knee early on, because it might swell up, and we want to decrease that swelling as much as we can. All right, guys, goal number 2. You got to regain your range of motion. Range of motion is critical. You really want to get your knee as straight as you can and get your knee bending to at least 120 degrees. The reason I say that is because if your mobility is limited before surgery, after surgery, your motion's limited just because of the surgical procedure. So if it was already limited before, it's only going to get worse afterwards. Also, you're just going to build up some scar tissue, build up some muscle tightness. If your knee can't get straight, your calves going to be really restricted. Your hamstrings are going to be really restricted. Also, your quads are going to be restricted. If you can't bend your knee as much, your kneecap might not move. So you really want to work on your range of motion and getting that knee bending and extending as much as you can leading up to surgery. There's also always some certain restrictions. So if you tore your MCL with a terrible triad with your ACL, you might not be able to bend your knee as much. If there's no restrictions, really work on that range of motion, because the easier you have that range of motion before surgery, the easier you'll get the range of motion afterwards surgery. All right, guys, goal number 3 is minimizing atrophy. So as you know, once you tear your ACL, you'll start losing that muscle right away. And we want to minimize that as much as we can. But we need to make sure those 2 goals prior have to be achieved. So you want to make sure the knees calm down, because you can't be working out your muscles if your knee's still swollen. And you want to get your range of motion. So if you don't have that good range of motion, then you can't really work out your muscles. When we're going to get these muscles to work out, we want to focus on the quads, the hamstrings, the calves, the glutes, but most importantly, the quads. Just simple activations, simple quad sets, just regaining those motor pathways to use squeezing that quad to just get the muscle working. Because you'll see after surgery, it's going to be really hard to activate the quads. You'll lose a lot more muscle. So the stronger you go into surgery, the easier the recovery and the less muscle loss you're going to have. Goal number 4 is very important, but it can't be done if we don't do the prior 3 ones, but it's normalizing your walking pattern. So normalizing meaning get that walking back to normal. If we don't calm the knee and we don't have the good range of motion, we can't achieve that. But we want to start using some crutches if we can achieve it there, because we want to use these crutches as assistance to try to minimize the compensations and deviations that we have after an injury. But use both crutches, then go down to 1 crutch, then go down to none. But it's better to use crutches than just limping around, because if you're limping around, it's just going to irritate the knee overall. And then because you don't have the normal mechanics, you might irritate your kneecap as well and have some patellar femoral pain as well. So make sure you normalize your walking pattern. That way it's also easier to relearn how to walk after surgery, because you'll notice after surgery, you have to kind of relearn how to walk again. All right, guys, and the last goal, and it's equally as important in all the goals, is finding a physical therapist to work with you to achieve these goals. So find a physical therapist before surgery, not afterwards. That way you guys could work on prehab. You might not need a lot of sessions, just an intro session, but it's gonna help build rapport, build some goals, find out what you wanna get back to. If you wanna get back to playing basketball, then we gotta set that plan up for success for you. And we could talk about your different graft choices, like, hey, do I use an autograft, allograft? And then just kind of building this whole report. That way you know exactly what to expect and have all your questions answered before surgery. So that plays a huge role, and you gotta find the right person. If you guys have torn your ACL and need to find a physical therapist in Southern California area, send us an email. We're located in Los Angeles and Orange County. And if you also want to work with us online, we work with athletes all over the world online as well. But finding that physical therapist is critical when it comes to your recovery. All right, guys, to summarize our top 5 goals of prehab. And I forgot to mention this, but if you guys want to learn a little bit more why you actually need to do prehab, click the description below. We have a great video if you guys haven't watched it on why you need to be doing prehab overall. But the top 5 goals of prehab is 1, calming the knee down. 2, regaining that range of motion. 3, getting back that strength, minimizing that muscle loss. 4 is getting back to that walking. And 5, establishing a physical therapist to get to you to your goals and then have that long process, because you're looking at a 9 to 12 month recovery process. So those are a little summary of the top 5 reasons why you need to be doing prehab. If you guys like this video, hit the like button, share it with friends and family or anyone else that's going through this ACL recovery process. And we are the Basketball Doctors. Let's ball for life.